Michelle, and she's going to talk about her experiences now, about the viewings, and how she accepted the offer on her property. So Michelle, what happened next? So obviously, we as estate agents marketed your property. It was on the portals and different marketing techniques, not saying that was the right one. There's a few things we like to do at the beginning, so we always asked you right from early on to avoid that. Can you do this? Can you do that? What times of viewings are good for you? So we always knew that early on, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I knew your availability. I knew whether we would be doing the viewings on the property. We'd got keys arranged and things. So for me, it was a case of avoiding all that. You get the phone call, right, when can you go? Actually, I can't do that, so then go back to the person. And then, so it really avoids that whole back and forward because you are really busy. We're just as busy, and actually people want to know. So we'd got your rough availability and we did the viewings. So, and I think us doing the viewings was quite important, really. I don't know how you've experienced viewings in the past, but I think no matter when we say we're going to do them, we do them. So, how has your experience been in the past with when you've viewed properties and when you've sold in the past? Let's talk about that first of all, I think.
So when I've had people, because like you said, I had this house on the market a couple of years prior and it didn't sell, through a different agent, and I had a couple of viewings. The viewings were always done by the other agent. I was always here, but the other agents did them. They rushed and not very
relatable, I suppose. Like,
good word.
Very corporate, I think you've said before. Like,
it didn't feel home.
Open the door, don't know you're home.
Absolutely. Very much rush round. This is the dining room. This is the lounge. It just felt robotic again. Do you know what I mean? That's all I can say about some of the other agents I've used. Just like robotic, going through the motions. And equally, when I've been to viewings myself to look at houses, I've kind of felt like I've had that
what you're here for type of thing
thrown upon me.
Yeah.
Come on, we've got other viewings waiting, so hurry up. Very always against the clock.
Oh no, yeah.
So I've never sort of really enjoyed looking at properties for that reason, just the rushing. So of course when yourselves came and did the viewings, it surprised me how, because you'd spent time in my home and you knew the layout inside out and back to front, you knew where to take them, how the flow of the house went, etc. So, and you took time. You just took your time and you gave them a chance to look around each room properly and to ask you questions. And you also gave them insight into the position of the room in the house and if it looked into the garden and what way the garden was facing. Just those extra little golden nuggets that make all the difference, because it sounded like you knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. And there's always something in any property we go to that we genuinely love or we can see ourselves in. This one I've spent time in, so or the area, so I knew the Wi-Fi setup, and I know you work from home, and I know there were times where you'd done big Teams meetings, the video things, so I genuinely could say, yes, the videos and the Wi-Fi was good and talk about it. Because we are from the area or close by, we knew the shops. I knew, like, we'd even had discussions about where your children go to school.
Absolutely,
and just the secondary school, the preschool, and different things like that. And I strongly believe, don't get me wrong, there will always be people who feel like they just want to look around and that's it. But I kind of believe a 15-minute viewing sometimes isn't enough.
No, I agree.
You need to get a feel for the property, and the way I think I expect it to be almost done with everyone. Personally, I think, and what you noticed was we did the viewings. Michelle wasn't here when we did the viewings necessarily, because people don't like to ask the questions in front of you. They also feel they're rushing you and lots of things. But I like to show somebody around the property, like every room, the garden, because in my experience, and we've talked about this, and I've obviously looked at houses, you're always wanting to get to the next room. You're not looking, you quickly go into the next one. So then what we say is, right, let's look around again. So we take them around a second or third time, and that is only on the first viewing, because actually, and that's why I think we've been so effective in selling, because it's about how it feels, the quietness of the road where they're parking, and allowing that thought while they're in it. And there are some times where I remember saying to people, what are you thinking? I genuinely can see people's brains turning and things. But I think we've got a completely different approach. It's not unprofessional, it's just relatable, in my opinion. Like, we've all been there and done that. And I don't believe in necessarily 15 minutes, quick here, don't know anything about it. And I also feel it's important to know why you're moving, not obviously personal, where you're going, what's going on, but the home has got, there's a reason why you bought it, there's a reason you sold it. And actually what I say to people is, we've always heard about those agents that overvalue a property, and it's kind of a running joke sometimes, isn't it? Myself as a buyer, like, take me out of the estate agency kind of industry. Some agents you knew to go in at 10-20% off. With us, we always explain to people we don't overvalue properties, and I think it's about coming in with respectful offers as well, and actually treating it with the respect it deserves. And I think that's why we've achieved, and we certainly achieved it quite quickly, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we had evening and weekend viewings on this, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. So what we're finding with the evening and weekend viewings is it's actually opening up the market. There's a lot of shift workers locally, like, work at the factories, earning big money, but obviously can't get in to do the viewings, missing out because the last viewing is at 6 o'clock. As long as Michelle was comfortable with us doing it, then we did it. So we're aware, although we're open 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock daily, it's not going to be for everyone a 6 o'clock viewing to say, here, we're in the bedroom, sorry, hi. You can just, so I'm not saying we'll be doing viewings at those times, but it's making sure we're there when you want us. And I think it worked, didn't it?
Oh, it absolutely worked for us, because I mean, I know there was a couple of viewings we had from people from London that came up and obviously worked during the week and could only come at weekends.
And that was a Sunday as well, so it's very rare you get a Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
We also promote things, and again, we know it's not for everyone. We've got the client portal, which listed every viewing, because it's easy to lose track of what viewings you've got. And then finally, obviously, putting offers across to yourself. So obviously every offer has to be put forward to the seller. We know that. There's been times, and I know I heard your frustrations when you was trying to find your property. You'd got your agreement in principle in place, hadn't you? So Michelle had got her finances in place. She knew what she could afford. But then there were some agents, weren't there, that wouldn't allow you to do viewings on a property unless you'd met, was it their financial people?
Yeah, and that was more than one agent. So I'd seen a couple of houses on Rightmove, phoned up the agent to ask to do a viewing, and I was allowed to do a viewing. No questions asked. I think there was on two different occasions there was houses that I wanted to put an offering on, and my offers they weren't rejected because I wasn't allowed to put them forward without first talking to their mortgage advisor, which I found bizarre. I explained to them I already had a mortgage advisor and I'd got a mortgage in principle, but their advice was that, well, unless I talk to theirs, even if I don't use them, I had to still talk to them.
And go in for that meeting,
Yeah, they wouldn't allow me to put an offer forward.
Yeah, and that holds people back, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, not just me as a buyer, but them as a seller. You know, they're not getting an offer because
they're not.
I'm not allowed to do it unless I talk to them.
It was almost like you wasn't on their hot buyers list. I remember you being completely frustrated.
That's what they called it, a hot buyers list. So with one of them, I sort of relented and booked an appointment.
Take time off work. I remember you saying you had to book the time out of work.
I did.
Imagine booking annual leave for an appointment that's not needed when you're going to be needing it to move for other things, isn't it? Pack up and...
And I wasn't. They never called me. I mean, I'm just. That was just my experience. I'm not saying they've done that to everybody, because presumably they don't, else they wouldn't have any business. But on my scenario, I wasn't contacted. So I kind of totally lost out on all. I'm a believer of things happen for a reason, so I kind of believed that
it wasn't a nice journey at the time, was it?
It was an awful journey. And then there was another scenario whereby an agent had taken my offer on a property, but but I later found out that they hadn't told the vendor.
That's the one you went to do a second viewing on, wasn't it,
Yes.
over the weekend?
Yeah, because I actually then mentioned the agent didn't come with me. I went on my own to do the viewing, and the vendors did the viewing for me. And I just happened to mention to them, you know, was you told my offer? And they weren't. And I offered on the Friday, and this was the Saturday, and the agents obviously are shut over the weekend.
And that's frustrating for you, wasn't
put
it?
forward to them. They had absolutely no idea. So
And that went on for a few days, didn't it? I remember
did,
rightly, because the
absolutely.
person then was on your leave but hadn't told you.
Yes.
Yes, that one. So that was just one of the experiences, because
I have had
you put a
lots
lot of
bad
offers in, didn't you? With
Yeah.
at least 3 or 4 properties
Yeah.
that I know of. Yeah. So we try and make it as easy as possible. So client portal to see the viewings, and obviously we do put forward every offer. To avoid Michelle's situation, we strongly believe, like, if you've got an agreement in principle, we see proof of funds, but actually we have to put every offer across to the sellers. So what we then say to them is, we've received this and this offer, or this offer. How do you feel about it? Let's start asking those questions. If it comes in, and you was lucky, like we manage people's expectations. So luckily enough, actually, we, touch wood, people don't come in with low offers and disrespectful offers. Really, we generally hear asking price or over, and that probably is because of how the market is at the moment. But what we then say to Michelle is, look, we haven't done the ID checks, we haven't seen proof of funds, we haven't seen the agreement in principle just yet, but if you was to accept the offer, then we ask for that next. And obviously a lot of things are electronically, we see them in person. We're open till 10 o'clock, even over the weekend. So generally, we've tied everything up, even before estate agents and solicitors are open. So by the Monday, the memorandum of sale and the legal process starts. So that might think, well, they've not seen it, but they've asked us for an offer. We get things tied up really quickly then. So we still market the property until we see proof of funds and the agreement in principle, or however they're going to pay for the property. So it doesn't disadvantage you, but it also opens up that market and stops people having that poor experience. And I had that, 7 years ago in mine. And I struggled I cannot believe that it's still going on. And I'm sorry that you've had to experience that. And that's partly why we've started the agency. It's just scary, it's still going on. But you've now got your property.
So I have now.
The offers were also emailed to you as well to confirm, because that. You then had the portal with all the offers on as well. And then you came back to us with which one you accepted, and then quite quickly, within even like the hour and so, people had sent us everything, the document. We live in a world now where people have things ready, but I wouldn't be comfortable sending my documentation if the offer hasn't been accepted, I don't think, because I think that's, and also how do you not necessarily know exactly what it is and things?
Because I have,
and you had a really good.
That's another experience that I've had when I was at a property. I put an offer in there and then to the estate agent, and without it being confirmed by the vendor, who wasn't there at the time, I was told to email all my documentation across. Yet the offer hadn't been accepted. And I didn't even understand what the documentation was that I was meant to be sending. I think it was a case of they were just so excited that someone had put an offer in. It was like, right, let's do it.
Without probably explaining you why they have it, why they need it.
But actually, as it goes, there was a viewing after me, who put in a higher offer, which the vendor then accepted.
So you wouldn't have been comfortable having.
So had I have gone on his advice, I would have come home, got all my documents ready, sent it over to them, to be told that I hadn't got the property. I have had a fair few. I
mean, you've definitely got a story to tell. Yeah, it's been a journey, hasn't it?
It certainly has.
It's been nice to be on the journey with you, and we constantly say to you, don't we? We cannot fix the buying and selling process. Like, the legalities of it, and there are frustrations, is what it is. But hopefully, by making things as easy as possible and treating you with the respect, and I think remembering you're still a person and not just a number and a target, and hopefully that goes that little way. And I know there's little extra bits, isn't there, like just emails and the portal and everything, and but it's your choice if you want to use
Yeah,
them.
and also what you do is you give me a call once a week with an update.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because I know with the other agents, I used to have to phone them and say, right, another week's gone.
What's gone on?
Where are we at? Where are we going?
And if you're anything like me, I know when I bought and sold, because I remember buying my property. The first one I ever bought, I was homeless for 9 weeks, which was amazing. But no one buys and sells every day, so you don't know the process.
No.
You don't remember it. Even if you didn't, you've done it a few years ago, you still don't remember what's going on next. And I strongly believe actually of talking you through. So I think that ties us into the next topic, and let's talk about the legal process and how she's found that so far. So thank you.